8-bit Invaders. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. 8-bit Invaders is a fast-paced retro real-time strategy game for the PC. Control the military might of the Galactic Marine Corps or invade with the devastating power of the Cranioids. Mine, build and fight your way to victory. Conquering the multiverse was never so easy. Yes guys, it's another episode in the 8-bit RTS series. We had 8-bit armies, 8-bit hordes, and now we have 8-bit invaders. Now although this isn't as highly polished as the likes of StarCraft and other AAA RTS games, it's still fun. It does have a few problems, as I've mentioned in the other 8-bit WABs that I've done, in that the strategy kind of revolves around massing a shit ton of load of troops and just sending them in without much strategy going on. This one has a little bit more strategy than the other ones, in as much as your aircraft don't do a great deal of damage with their missiles to troops, so you have to use them to attack enemy vehicles and installations and things like that. You also have the ability, if you're playing as the aliens, to teleport troops behind enemy lines, which you could do in Command and Conquer. It has it's sort of a limited use function, but you can use this ability to set a little area, as long as you can visibly see that area in an enemy base, for example, and all new troops that are made during the window that this little portal is open will spawn on that spot. So it's really nice for flanking the enemy or coming up behind the enemy if you are engaging with your frontline forces anyway. But generally speaking, it's a case of build more units than the enemy, then attack. And I like that. I mean, it's not strategic like StarCraft, but it is great fun, and the graphics just look gorgeous. I love the artwork of this game. It's like Lego, and the battles are huge and intense, and it runs brilliantly on my machine. I haven't tried it on my 770, but the other 8-bit games were all done on the 770, so they ran well, so I don't see why this shouldn't either. You get two factions in this. You get the aliens, which is pretty much based on that film, which was really good, that had Tommy Lee Jones in, and Frank Sinatra wasn't in it. I don't know why I mentioned Frank Sinatra. Why did I mention Frank Sinatra? He was dead. Tom Jones was in it. You know the one where the aliens went nah, 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 nah. That one, yeah. What was it called again? Oh man, what was it called? Never mind what it's called. I'll remember by the end of the video. But it's based on that. You can see the aliens is totally copied off that, and the music is straight out of that. The music is hilarious. It so fits that kind of 60s sci-fi thing. It's really good. And the enemies of the aliens are based on a military. They're a bit like the military from the Aliens films, the high-tech infantry. They've all got shields, all the vehicles and the soldiers all have shields on. It's quite high-tech compared to the first 8-bit armies, which was kind of built on around about today's tech. So you've got two futuristic tech. You've got like an army-based tech and an alien-based tech. And I love playing the aliens. I think they've got some really interesting buildings and interesting units. I love the little flying saucers. The artwork on them is just brilliant. And the sound effects is great. This is the best one of the lot. It's better than hordes and it's better than armies. This is definitely the best one. It has some really good maps with it. It has 24 single-player missions and 10 co-op missions. And as usual, you can play all the factions from the other two. If you own the other 8-bit games, you can use them factions in this game when you play a skirmish or when you play online or co-op. So you can have, like I have done, aliens versus the horde, the renegades, the army. You can just put all the different factions in and see how the different units cope with each other, which is really nice. It also has a multiverse mode in this game, which is basically like a top-down strategy map where you take over different worlds that has different amounts of resources in, and you build units and put them into that, and you can either then fight the battles to take over these new zones, as in the RTS way, with the units that you've made and sent to that zone, or you can just have the computer auto-resolve it. So this brings a new dimension to the game, and you can also use all the different factions in that as well. So if you're kind of bored of the RTS style, you can play this strategy map and there's 3 different strategy maps for this. So that brings a little bit of a break from it all. But to me, that was just kind of, yeah, I love the RTS side of this. I think it's really challenging. The AI can build up a shit ton of units and is absolutely brutal. And the maps are great. The maps are fantastic in this. It also has a map creator in this series where you can make your own maps. So it's got pretty much everything. And my advice to you, if you are into RTS games, is to buy the bundle, because it is so much cheaper. You can buy all 3 of these games in a discounted bundle. And so you're essentially getting 6 factions. I don't know how many maps, but there's a shit ton of maps with this one, a shit ton of maps with the other 2. So you're getting a load of maps, and it runs really, really well, and it's a really good game. So for me, it's a definite thumb up. I'm going to go into some of the bugs that I've found. There's a few annoyances that you need to be aware of before you buy this. The AI isn't amazing. There's times when you'll have a group of units together and one of them will be getting attacked and nobody will respond because the unit that's attacking them is outside of their kind of view range, and you would think that they would still attack because they would know that one of them is being attacked, but they just sit there and they will just die without responding. Now, it's not a game breaking bug, but it's fucking annoying, and this bug was in, I think it was the last one as well, and it really does need addressing. For me, if you have a group of units and one of them is being attacked, the whole group should respond instantly that that one unit is being attacked, because in reality that's what would happen. You know, if there was like 10 tanks sitting there and one of them was getting attacked, he would tell the other tanks that, hey, I'm getting attacked, and they would immediately turn and all attack the enemy. And this, they'll just happily sit there and be raped. So to that's pretty much it in this. I mean, there's no other real bugs in this. I found the enemy really challenging, and I found the units really diverse. There's a lot of different units. They're not all just the same with different kind of graphics and animations. They all have a different role to play. You've got long range units, you've got short range units, you've got infantry, you've got air. There's a few more different airs, especially with the aliens. You've got this UFO mothership that can heal units, which is really annoying when you're fighting the enemy, because they have them as well, and there's nothing worse than them healing each other when you're trying to kill them. So you have to take out the healers first, and to do that you have a lot of units that can fire directly into the air. You also have turrets that can, anti-air turrets, so you have to kind of build all the right stuff. You can customize the game as well as to how many resources you need to harvest. I'm not going to go into how an RTS works. I'm sure you all know how RTSs work, where you gather resources to build units, to build buildings, and so on and so forth. When it's actually the other way around, you gather resources to build buildings, then you build the units. There's also research to do in this, and you also have these huge beasts. The aliens have this like giant dinosaur thing, which is really cool, that just stomps around the battlefield. So there's a lot going on. It has everything that you would expect from a Command and Conquer clone, which what these kind of are. But like I said, get the bundle if you're interested in this. It's reasonably priced, and you get all 3, so you'll get all 6 factions and a shit ton of maps. So there you go, guys. 8-bit Invaders is definitely worth buying. Mars fucking attacks!